Hi, this is Andy of Andy's Personal Development, and we are currently live in the breakout room. So, welcome and welcome, and we love being here for you with quality and value to inspire and to transform. Remember, we are on Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, and iTunes. Today, as usual, we have a special guest to share with you for your development and growth and to live your better informed life. So, grab a cup, pull up a seat, and stay tuned for the introduction right here, now, live in the breakout room. Hi, guys, this is Andy of Andy's Personal Development, and our next guest live in the breakout room, Anne Scottlin. She is a best selling author, a consultant and specialist in emotional well being, a motivational speaker, and an actress. She says, "Welcome to my joyful community." And she is joyful indeed. Her publication, Live for Joy, is the #1 Amazon bestseller. She even walks with joy. So, my friends, let's welcome with joy live in the breakout room, Anne Scotland. Okay, and here we are. That's your introduction. And welcome to the show live in the breakout room on Andy's Personal Development. Anne, how are you doing?
I am good. Thank you, Andy. Love that. I'm so excited to be here and talk to you today.
Wonderful, and we're looking forward to it. So thank you so much for being here. So let's get right into it without any further ado. First of all, we'd like you to tell us if you can recall anything about your childhood era, your childhood time growing up as a young lady. What would that be, and what would you like to share with us about the times that you were growing up as a young lady?
Wow. Um, I have a different story. I grew up very unusually, not your typical American, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I grew up in a very extreme religious community, and I was raised way out in the country, no friends, homeschooled till I was 15 and a half, actually.
Wow.
And no television, no movies. So I lived a very unusual life. And
Mm-hmm.
I think the one thing that was interesting about that, as far as joy is concerned, is you're often told that by being a religious person doing it the right way, that you
Uh-huh.
would know you were doing it right if you were joyful.
Okay.
So I learned to be joyful, but then I also didn't feel good on the inside. I would feel
Mm.
not authentic or frustrated with hypocrisy or whatever was dealing with. And so once I moved away from that, which took many years actually, I
Yeah.
made it my life goal to discover what it takes to be authentically joyful, whether you're religious or not, whether you're an adult or a kid. What is joy all about? So that's my unusual childhood for you.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for sharing. But what was the catalyst that made you decide that you were going to do this soul searching thing? I guess you were looking for some level of fulfillment. What was it actually that drove you in that direction?
Yeah. Um, well, I think probably this would have been a little later, like in my
Hmm.
late 20s when I went through a really messy divorce.
Okay.
And I had gotten married very young. I married a man who had a lot of sociopathic tendencies. I didn't recognize them or
Wow.
know about them.
Mm.
And by the time things came to a head, I didn't know, he lived in other states with other women. He had other houses and other cars. He was living a double, triple life.
Yeah.
And I came from a very sheltered background. So I really had a personal crisis because I
Hmm.
felt like everything I'd always been told, if you do everything just right, everything will work out for you. And I felt like I had done that. And yet
Mm.
things were absolutely falling apart. So I think
Okay.
that's what began to set me on a new quest.
Okay. But was it a combination, I would say, of formal education and that experience, or was just someone in the background driving you, a mentor saying, "Hey, Anne, you need to wake up. I know you can do this. Go in this direction. I'm seeing something in you that nobody else is seeing." What was that like for you, that period of transition?
It was very lonely. I wish I
Wow.
could say that I had a mentor who was kind of helping me out, but
Mm-hmm.
um, the I was still sort of it's partly attached to the conservative community I'd grown up in,
Uh-huh.
and so there everyone was behaving similarly to the way they always had, and then the rest of the wide world just seemed so overwhelming and intimidating, and I didn't feel like I fit in either side. I didn't feel like
Okay.
I fit in the super religious side. I didn't feel like I wasn't raised like normal kids, so I didn't know all the songs and TV shows, and so I didn't feel like I fit in the mainstream side. So I think it was education, though, secondary education. So I did go to college. I did get 2 degrees in college, and one of them was in history because I
Okay.
really was fascinated by the study of people in history and how they behave and how they change and how religion influences them and how they influence religion. And I think I started seeing a lot of interesting things that didn't necessarily line up with exactly the way I had been raised. So I started going through this very sort of personal, lonely, internal struggle of
Mm-hmm.
figuring it out so
Yeah.
that I could have some sort of peace of mind. It didn't happen quickly.
Ah, it was a process.
A long process. Yeah.
Wow. But what are the things, what would you say are the valuable lessons that you personally would have learned that would have enhanced your life during that process?
Yeah. Ah. I guess realizing for starters that we really are each responsible for our own happiness, our
There you
own
go.
joy.
Yeah.
Because if you're a religious person, that's wonderful. If you're not, that's fine too. You know, I like to say, I love everybody. So I love you all the same. It doesn't make a difference. But you can't count on your mother, your father, your church or your religious organization. You can't count on anyone to
Mm,
absolutely be there for you and make you happy. No
right.
one can make you happy.
Yes.
Only you can choose
Mm-hmm.
to live from a joyful place.
I hear
And
you.
and it's a choice. And it's
Yes.
not always easy. And it's not that you're joyful all the time, but it's a choice. It becomes a lifestyle of joy. So that was one of the things that emerged from that story, from that process. That was one of those things.
Okay. Wonderful. So far inspired. Thanks for sharing. On that note, when would you say that you reached to the point where you figured, you know what? This experience is so valuable to me. I can share it with other people and make an impact, a positive impact on their lives. When did that moment happen for you?
Yeah. Well, I think it started coming to me as I was in this very bad depression after my divorce. So for a
Mm-hmm.
couple of years, I was in such
Yeah.
a dark, dark place. And
Yeah.
I had physically broken down. I'd been in the hospital. Mentally, I was broken down. I
Mm-hmm.
just didn't know where to turn. And after I'd been in that space for quite a long time, then a mentor came into
Okay.
my life and said, you know, sometimes I find when you're really down and you just can't, like, no matter how much willpower you would try to get up in your
Yeah.
system,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
just couldn't break out of it. I
Uh-huh.
wanted to break out of it, but I just
Right.
couldn't. And I'm like, help me. What am I supposed to do? I don't want to feel like this for the rest of my life. And they said, find a way to get out of your head and give back to help someone else.
Right.
I was like, oh, well, I mean,
Mm.
I have always loved helping people, but I had been very reclusive. I hadn't been seeing people. I hadn't been going out. I hadn't been going to any community stuff, any religious events, nothing.
Yeah.
And so I decided, okay. So I literally just got online and started Googling, and I found my local Amnesty International chapter.
Okay.
So I joined up. I started helping run it very quickly. We were, you know, working to help people all over the world. And I started realizing, wow, I especially have a burden for women in developing countries, especially those
Okay.
that don't have a lot of choice
Mm-hmm.
that's permitted to them.
Yeah.
So, wow, these women, we're writing, you know, letters and petitioning congressmen to try to get them out of prison or get them out of house arrest from where their family's holding them
Right.
captive or
Right.
whatever. And they don't even have the choices.
Hmm.
I have the choices. who am I to complain? I should be
Mm-hmm.
living my life to the fullest, because if I was a person in extreme unfortunate circumstances like these women I was trying to help,
Yeah.
I would have been looking across the ocean at me saying, you go for it. You live it
Right.
for us. You follow the dream, because
Yes.
we can't. So until we can, do it, live it, lead, make a difference. And that really snapped me out of my kind of self obsession. And
Mm-hmm.
I really started realizing that there was a lot more to give back. And I hadn't quite
Yes.
gotten to the teaching and the joy as what I bring to the world yet, but that was the moment that broke me out.
Wonderful. Thanks for sharing. As we continue on that note, there are other milestones in your life that I'm sure that you can recall. And what I'd like to focus now on is your acting career. What stimulated that and how did it happen? And what was the experience like for you?
The academic career.
Yes. The
Yes.
acting, actually.
I'm sorry. Acting,
There you
acting.
go.
Sorry, it cut
Acting.
out right at that moment. We had a glitch.
That's all right.
The acting career. Okay, so this is also interesting. So it was around this same time that I was working with Amnesty International,
Uh huh.
and I had gone back to school to get my graduate degree, which I
Okay.
had been wanting to do for a long time. And I wanted to be a professor. I knew I had talents in teaching and
Wow.
working with people, and I thought this would be a great opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Well, unfortunately, about the time I was going to graduate, we were in the middle of the recession,
Mm.
and no one was hiring professors. In fact, PhDs were getting laid off left and right. And I was like, wow, well, I can't get a job right now. So what am I going to do?
Right.
And so I was just literally in the university campus, and they have these bulletin boards in the hallways, right?
Uh
And I
huh.
looked at the bulletin board and it said casting notice for an
Mm-hmm.
audition for a play. And I was like, well, I did write my first play when I was 10, even though it was just for my family and even though I starred in it. And but I
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
thought, and I love to write. Obviously, I'm a writer, so I love stories,
Mm-hmm.
storytelling, and I thought, wow, I should just, why not? I mean,
Yep.
can't get a job right now. Let's go see what it is. So I went across campus to this audition. It was a for a small production of a big play called
Right.
Lysistrata, which is an
Okay.
ancient Greek play from like 500 BC or somewhere
Wow.
around there. It's an ancient Greek play. And ironically, it was about empowered Greek women
Okay.
who were taking charge in their country
Mm-hmm.
to create change and to save their country, to keep their men in line, to create a difference and a better society. And I was like, this is crazy. It was this huge long script. It was written in ancient Greek, which I had taken ancient Greek, but this, of course, was translated into English. But not
Right.
just English, it was translated into this like heavy, almost Shakespearean English. So
Mm-hmm.
it's very hard to speak and read.
Okay.
And I was like, this is crazy. But I did the audition and I booked the lead role for Lysistrata, which was also just crazy.
Right. Right.
This
Right.
can't be happening. So that's how I began my acting career on the stage. And then shortly after that, began studying in acting studios in California.
Uh huh.
And I was in San Francisco at the time. So, and then shortly after that, moved down to LA to pursue the acting career, commercials, film, television, all of it. And so this was a whole new chapter in my life. But what was most fascinating about it, I think, since I told you about my childhood,
You did.
is that it was giving me a chance to express myself fully without repercussions, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Without someone saying, you can't do that, you can't say that, you can't
Mm-hmm.
cuss, you can't
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever,
I
you can't,
understand.
no,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can't get angry. I mean, in
Mm-hmm.
my house, we weren't allowed to be angry or yell or
Right.
anything. So
Okay.
very tight inside,
Mm-hmm.
right? So acting was it was therapy almost of its own,
All right.
because it forced me to get out of my shell. And I had great teachers who just encouraged me to express all these different parts of myself. And I think I really started feeling alive for the first time, being authentically me.
Yeah. Sounds good. Sounds really good. What advice would you give to young aspiring actors, actresses, people who are looking to get involved in Hollywood and make it a career even based on your personal experience, what advice would you give to them?
Mm. I would say, now I'm also a business coach, so I'll throw
Right.
that disclaimer in there, but I would say, because by the time I got to acting, I was already an adult. I already had some business in my background.
Okay.
Find a business, find a day job that you can do from home, that you can do
Mm-hmm.
online, where you can have full-time job, hopefully benefits, make enough money to support yourself, to have your own
Mm-hmm.
place, to be able to make your car payment. And then you pursue your acting or your writing or your artwork or whatever your passion is as a creative, because it's so
Right.
important for your soul to
Uh-huh.
express that passion as a creative. But I also had so many friends who were literally starving artists in Los Angeles, actors
Mm.
and actresses living in their cars
Mm-hmm.
so that they could afford acting class.
Okay.
It's an expensive business until you
Right.
make it. It's an
Yeah.
expensive business. And so when I later did teach some acting and coached actors on the business side, I would always say, definitely find a career you can handle that will make you income. That's your day job.
Mm-hmm.
Pursue that until you're making so much money in your creative career that you can
Mm-hmm.
quit the other job. But
Yeah.
don't do it the other way around, because there's nothing more disappointing than not getting booked that year and having no money and having to leave and move home.
Wow. Yeah. That would be tough.
Yeah, and a lot of
That
people
would be
do it.
tough. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm gonna call out some names here, and I want you to tell me the one that you think made the greatest impact on your life, and if any lessons were learned, what they were. All right.
Mhm,
Recipe for Love. Familiar with that name?
mhm.
All right. Um, Heartbeat.
Ooh, yeah. Mhm,
Okay. Papa Bear.
mhm.
Tip in the scale.
Oh, yeah.
Which one? Which one? And come on, tell us.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to go with Recipe for Love, and then it's going to
Uh-huh.
be tied with another one that wasn't on your list.
Hmm. I know I
So,
wouldn't get all, but you tell us why. What was the experience like?
Recipe for Love was a really beautiful film written by an actress, LGBTQ in San Francisco,
Mm-hmm.
that was a love story about a San Francisco woman and a woman from Brazil who was
Uh-huh.
a beautiful chef.
Okay.
And she came up to San Francisco and was cooking food. Now, I love food. I think food is romantic. I think
I
food
can
is an
tell.
art form.
I can tell.
And so the story was a love story based on this woman came to just clean her house.
Mm-hmm.
And the owner of the house, the woman, didn't know that she had been a chef, a very
Oh,
good chef in this other country. And they
okay.
ended up having a beautiful relationship, and it was all based around food. And it was just a great set. We were shooting up in one of those great old houses in San Francisco near the
Mm-hmm.
bay.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just such a wonderful experience. And just to have, we actually had someone from another country playing the part. It was wonderful. So
Okay.
that was a great one. Yeah, that was a real favorite.
All right. It kind of reminds me of I'm not sure if you're familiar with this. I just saw recently on Netflix a series. I think it's The Cook of Customer or something like that.
Oh,
And the
I
cook's name
saw
was
it out there,
Clara.
but I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, you should. I mean,
Oh,
it's enthralling. It's
oh,
full
I
of
will.
drama, intrigue, betrayal, a whole lot of emotional stuff mixed in there, real drama.
And if
But
it's
the
about cooking and
storyline,
food, I'm in. So
storyline, yeah, a lot of cooking food, a lot of recipes, and plenty
nice.
love, plenty love,
That sounds great. I
and
will.
joy in the end.
Yes. Oh, I'm excited now.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you one more question, and then we're gonna go for a short break and come
Sure.
back. So far, it's been fantastic. How did you begin to get the inspiration to write Live for Joy?
Mm. I really wanted to create a self empowerment book
Hmm.
that you could read and benefit from, even if you only had 1 or 2 minutes to do it.
Okay.
You didn't
Okay.
have time to read a whole chapter or listen to a whole chapter. So these are really compact bites of motivation, philosophy, inspiration, encouraging you to be a good world citizen, helping you when you're down, helping you find your joy. This is
Right.
all about your own empowerment, but in short, bite-sized pieces. And I also wanted to be a full experience. I wanted there to
Okay.
be artwork and photography. So it's a whole experience kind of book. And that's what I set out to create.
Wonderful. Thanks for sharing. You are hearing us live in the breakout room on Andy's personal development with our special guest, Anne Scottlin. Thank you for being here with us and for sharing thus far inspiring and wonderful information. We will be back with you shortly after this commercial break. Do not go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back shortly. Stand by. Hi, people. This is a special invitation for you to join our community. Yes, we're inviting you to join our community for 2022. What's in store? Well, what we want is your feedback on our content and our guests, but more so on what you need to be inspired and transformed from your current condition to one of happiness, health, and prosperity. So drop us a line and reach out. Help us to better help you achieve your goals. So, people, inbox me at www.facebook.com/mddreamer/. That's www.facebook.com/mddreamer/. Or send me an email at lovebitsa@gmail.com. That's lovebitsa@gmail.com. We love hearing from you as we build our partnership in growth and development, and we look forward to your communicating. Help us to help you to live a better life in personal growth and development from Andy's personal development. We love you. We look forward to hearing from you. See you soon. Bye for now. So we are back with Anne Scottlin in the breakout room live on Andy's personal development, and we are having a wonderful and warm conversation with regards to her life, her desires, her goals, and her achievement. So far, so good. So Anne, tell us, what is your biggest goal in life? What is the thing that gets you up in the morning and gives you that energy to just go through the day, and you know that it is something meaningful to you and you just absolutely want to accomplish?
Mm. Well, this past year, I founded the Power of Joy Institute, which
Right.
is an extension of the work I already do, but
Mm-hmm.
bringing in other experts, scientists, wellness, emotional, mental wellness professionals into a group to create content together and also provide free content globally.
Okay.
So that is a huge inspiration of mine. But my biggest inspiration is the humanitarian arm of the Power of Joy Institute, which is reaching out with emotional wellness teaching
Mm-hmm.
to young women in developing countries.
Okay, good.
Especially at the moment, I'm focusing on India.
All right.
So there are so many young women there that, and young men, but I relate a little bit to young women, and sometimes in a closed or tight environment because that's how I grew up, even though I was American.
Okay.
And they're this whole generation that grew up on Instagram, but they still may live in poverty.
Right.
Some of them have made it to college, and I'm working primarily right now just with the colleges. And they're becoming an engineer, but then
Mm-hmm.
they're also have, of course, arranged marriage. There's so many strange competing forces between the Western world and business and the East world and tradition and religion and family. And I think a lot of organizations in recent years have done some spectacular work around safety and rights for women, around
Okay.
prevention of violence, around clean water. But
Mm-hmm.
nobody's really been focusing on emotional wellness. It's a little too trendy. It's a little too
Yeah.
new. It's
Yeah.
not life and death.
Yeah.
But I think this upcoming generation of young women needs to understand how to find their joy, how to find emotional wellness and balance in their life, because they're dealing with a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And if they get too far one direction, one extreme or the other, either they're in depression or they may hurt themselves, or there's so much struggle. Should they leave their family and go out on their own and try it? Should they not? So that's
Yeah.
been I'm currently developing a brand new Instagram not my normal one, but a new one that's going to be in Scotland, India. And it's going to be in both Hindi and English. And we'll be reaching out to share Instagram lives and all kinds of other content about joy and emotional wellness with them. So that gets me really excited to get up in the morning.
Hey, wonderful. That's so inspiring. I applaud you, Anne. That is really, really wonderful. I mean,
Oh, thank you.
you're gonna impact a whole lot of lives there. I can tell by your enthusiasm and your vision. It's clear. I mean, yeah, wonderful.
Yeah,
So
I'm
tell us,
excited.
yeah, um, climbing Mount Whitney, is that something that you just that you just overwhelmed about? You just seem to be so proud of it. What's that experience like for you?
Oh, I was proud of it. It was hard.
I
That's why
can
I'm
tell.
so proud of it because it was freaking hard.
Wow.
um, when I was 19, I climbed Mount Rainier with my dad and my brother.
Mm-hmm.
So that's in Seattle. It's a big snow-capped mountain. It's like the Seattle Mount Fuji, sort of,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
It's all snow and ice and glaciers. And that's about around 14,400 something feet.
Wow.
And that was intense. That was like a 2-day experience. You had to sleep on the side of the mountain. And when I was done, I enjoyed it. The sunrise at the summit was amazing. And I said, and I don't need to do that again. That's what I said.
Done and dusted.
But then, yeah, about a year and a half ago, some of my friends said, we're going to do Whitney. You really should come. And I love nature. I love hiking. But I'm
Okay.
more like hiking as a moderate challenge, not just to kill myself, but so because Mount Whitney's something like 21, 22 miles round trip, and again up to like 14,400 something feet. It's very thin air. It's a hard climb. I think we started at 1:30 in the morning with
Wow.
headlamps. It's pitch dark out on these trails, the rocks and forest, hiking up to get to the bottom, and it was just a challenge, and I love
Okay.
challenges.
Mm-hmm.
So I took their challenge and did it. And I think we did it in 16 hours up and back, which isn't fast, but it's not slow either. And it was an amazing experience. So yeah, that was one of my recent mountain climbs.
Mm-hmm. Great. Thank you for sharing, Anne. I love that experience. Um, you have worked in the Bahamas with the Will Harris Legacy Retreat. Tell us a little bit about that. What's that all about?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Will or Willpower, he goes by Willpower Harris. You can call him
Yeah.
either. He is a businessman, a corporate trainer, and a huge humanitarian, building orphanages, building
Mm-hmm.
schools in developing countries, doing a lot of work that I also feel passionate about, which
Okay.
really attracted me to what the work he was doing. And one of his new programs, just starting this year, is his Legacy Retreat, Legacy program. And you know how I shared with you how my vision, what gets me up in the morning, is the Power of Joy Institute and the
Yeah.
humanitarian arm working with
Mm-hmm.
young women in developing countries.
Yeah.
This is what we do. Anyone who wants to find their own vision, create a legacy, not just impacting right now, which is good,
Mm-hmm.
but impacting long term, creating
Right.
something sustainable, financially sustainable, organizationally sustainable, adaptable to times and places. So it has to be a living, moving thing. And that's what we set out to do. We've been going down to the Bahamas with our first groups of people and staying in this beautiful, beautiful house. You may have seen a picture. It's crazy. And
Yes.
for a week, we just work on building your legacy. It's so inspiring, watching people realize how much you can do even if you didn't think you could or you didn't have so much, and
Right.
just seeing the passion that people have for the world. We're trying to solve like the top 9 problems in the world if we
Mm-hmm.
can.
Mm-hmm.
And I have my eyes set on hopefully in the next year and a half or so, speaking at the United Nations. We'll see how that goes. But
Yeah.
that's what the Legacy Retreat is all about. And as you can tell, it just fits with me and my brand so well. So I've been collaborating with him and doing some training with Will Harris, and it's been fantastic.
Sounds good. Really inspiring. Congratulations on your desire to work with the United Nations. That is going to be something to look forward to.
Yay.
Indeed. Tell me, how do you create that balance between your passion, your fulfillment, the things that you do that you are so passionate about, and your personal life? How do you create that balance?
It is challenging. It's
Ah,
challenging. Yeah,
mm,
it's not easy. I'm married. I don't have
hmm,
kids, but I do
right.
have three fur babies, dogs, three
Oh yeah,
dogs
I've seen them,
in the house.
and
So
I know they
they're
demand a lot of attention too.
they do. They're little house dogs. They're sweet. They're three. They're all rescues. They're all mini schnauzer
Okay,
rescues.
okay.
Lots of personality. So right, yeah, it takes a lot of commitment. I mean, I have to travel some, so that's hard,
Hmm.
and I have to, talk with my husband and my family, and make sure that we are making a priority of our personal time as well as the
Right,
professional and business time.
right.
Um, having being forced to work from home the last couple years with COVID
Hmm.
and everything has actually been a plus for me.
Okay.
Now, what I miss is being in the room with real people because that's where I really enjoy it. I
I
just
hear you. I hear
I'm
you.
on
I hear
fire. I'm like
you.
real people in the room.
Hmm.
But I've been able to be a lot more efficient because I haven't been doing as much traveling, as much driving, as much, I've been able to really focus. That's how I was able to, write and publish the book during that time
Right.
and begin a bunch of these other things as well. So I think you just have to, I hate the word boundaries. I think it's overused, but
Hmm.
you have to set your priorities. And I think it's important that you share them openly with your family so
Okay.
that they can be on the same page with you. And if you need to make little adjustments on one side or the other, then you do that.
All right.
And hopefully you have someone in your life who encourages you, which I'm fortunate to have a husband who encourages me on my dream and my mission. But it's still challenging. And,
Okay.
at the end of the day of work, you still have all the normal house stuff and everything else. Someone still has to buy groceries and
Yeah.
clean and, so it's a lot. But when you love what you're doing,
Hmm.
it drives you. I mean, I woke up at 4:30 this morning, couldn't go back to sleep because I was just had too
Ah.
much on my mind, but good stuff
Okay.
in an
All right.
exciting way. And finally at 5,
Okay.
I'm like, I'm just getting up. I don't care. So when you are passionate about what you're doing, it energizes you and you can get so much more done than you ever thought you could.
Wow. Sounds good. Sounds good. So maybe it was that period of time that you were allowed to learn so many things, mainly over the past 2 years or so, that you learned to produce these sumptuous brunches.
Oh yeah. I love to cook. I
Come on, tell
do.
us about that. Tell us about that.
Well, cook is one of my joy activities. So I think everybody should have a list of like 10 things that bring them joy, whether it's their music or their pets or cooking or working outside or creating or writing or whatever it is. So one of
Hmm.
mine is definitely cooking. I've always loved to cook since I was a very little girl. And I just find it's an art and I love to eat. So yeah, even if it's just two of us on a Sunday, I like to spread it out. You want
Wow.
some eggs Benedict, maybe some sourdough pancakes, maybe some,
I hear you. I hear you.
yeah.
So tell us something. How does it feel to know that there are people in the world that are actually looking forward for the information that you have,
Mm,
and you can see somehow or the other on their faces, in their eyes, in their body language, you can tell that
mhm,
something that you wrote or something that you said is
mhm,
making an impact in their lives. How is that
mhm.
experience like for you?
It's very humbling. It really
Okay.
is. And it brings me a lot of joy. And it also just makes me emotional because I think from the time I was young, even though I was kind of in a weird, strange space, I've always had such a passion for people. I've always loved people. I've always been a healer, a helper, a nurturer. That's just who I was born to be.
Okay.
And so when I get a message from someone who says something you wrote really helped me during a really bad time, or I meet a new person who's really excited about a message of joy after all the negative stuff we've had to go through for the
Hmm.
last few years,
Yep.
it just makes me so abundantly happy and grateful. And it's when you're doing your best to bring value and support to people's lives every day. I don't see like that I have done so much, but I do feel that I pray not, but even if I should die tomorrow, I've already lived a fulfilled life because I
Right.
know, I don't care whether it's 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 people that I know I have significantly impacted in a good way that's
Yeah.
changed them. Like, that's enough. Everything else is a bonus. I want to
Yes.
live with a state of satisfaction and joy. And the rest is like, yeah, the rest is just exciting.
You exude, Joanne. You do. So, on that note, what is the Joy Journal? What is that all
Oh,
about?
yeah. Yeah. So for one of my workshops, I created a joy journal. It's a 1 week journal, and you can get it on my website for free.
Hmm.
It's a hidden page. It's www.annescottlin, ANNESCOTTLIN / joy journal. So
Right.
it's 7 days, and it's to help create your joy awareness. Because a lot of people are like, well, I know what joy is, but I haven't connected it in so long, I can't even remember. And there's so much stress in my life, and there's so much money worries. And I said, okay, well, let's start by just creating a joy awareness.
Right.
So in the morning, you have a quote, a beautiful image, and you write a couple lines in the morning, which creates your awareness for the day. So then you go live through the day, either noticing the things that bring you joy or noticing the things that suck your joy away. And then in the evening, you kind of respond. It has prompts, so it's very easy to follow. So you do that for a week. And even after 1 week, you really start to see patterns in your life.
Yeah.
And you also start to learn that it's just small little adjustments of the dial every day that can really start to fill your life with joy. It's not a huge change. You don't have to, move to move to Nepal and live in an ashram.
Okay.
That'd be great, but it's just little adjustments on the dial of the life you already have. Um,
Right.
Making it a practice, making it a lifestyle. So that's one tool that kind of starts getting you started on that road to seeing what you can do in those little increments.
Sounds good. We just have a few minutes to go, and this is a personal question.
Hmm.
What makes your Twitter feed so popular?
Oh, mercy. Wow.
Mm.
I guess I started it. It's been a while. I've worked it for probably 5 years. And it started as one of those things where you just feel like the universe is telling you to do something,
Okay.
or God, or whatever you want to call it. And
Mm-hmm.
I had some people in media and in acting and agents and managers saying, you have to build your social media. So I set out to do it. And I was like, I don't even know what to post. I don't want to be one of those people. I don't want to complain. I just want to. So I just started kind of turning my own morning walk, my own morning inspiration into an opportunity to write. And then I would post it. And that's really how it was born. And then, as you know, I love images. And
Yeah.
so
Yes.
that
Yes.
would go with it, which got people's attention. And so yeah, I've been working it for many years, but people have just really loved the content. In fact, that's how the book was born, is
Okay.
from that whatever 110K followers, people saying, I really wish you really should put some of this and some new content in a book. You should give
Hmm.
us something that you can hold and touch and feel, something
Yeah.
you put on the bedside table or your coffee table or your desk at work, and just have that reference. So
Right.
it does take a lot of work, and I
It
think people
does.
forget that work and time and money to put
Hmm.
out that kind of content. But again, that's kind of been part of my mission. My giving back has been that feed.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Wonderful. Two quick questions. First one, on that note, is there another book in the making from Anne?
Yes, there is another book in the making, hopefully by the end of this year. And it's going to be a more traditional book. It's just, a traditional self-empowerment, self-help, motivational, inspirational book. And it's going to be much more specifically just about joy. Live for
Okay.
Joy talks a lot about joy, but it talks about a whole life balance to get
Okay.
you into that place of joy.
Hmm. Hmm.
The next book is going to be more strategic and also talk a lot about bringing joy back into your work world, into your business, into the corporate workplace. So
Okay.
that's what you have to look forward to.
All right. Wonderful. Sounds like something to look forward to. Um, let's imagine that you had this stage and you had the whole world available. The whole world could actually hear you. And you have this one opportunity to just send them a message from your heart. What would you say?
I would say if you live for kindness, you'll live a life of joy.
Wow. Yes. Excellent. I love it. I love it. On that note, people, we are wrapping up our show. And this is the Breakout Room on Andy's Personal Development. Our special guest, Anne Scottlin. And she's now going to let you know how you can make contact with her, how you can get her book, and all her other handles available on social media platform. Anne, floor is yours.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Andy. So
Mhm.
yeah, my website is annescottlin.com. If you're listening, that's ANNESCOTTLIN, annescottlin.com. You
Mhm.
can get the book there. It's 285 pages. There's a beautiful hardback version. It's full color inside. Every page has beautiful color illustrations and artwork. You can also get it on Amazon. Just go to Amazon and Google Live for Joy or my name. And my handles on everything is at Anne Scottlin, since as far as I know, there's only one of me. So if you search Anne Scottlin on your favorite platform, you will probably find me there.
Okay. Wonderful. Sounds good. On that note, folks, we have come to the end of our show. And we thank our special guest, Anne Scottlin, for taking the time and sharing her inspiration and her knowledge and her desire for the future and the world with us. This is Andy of Andy's Personal Development, and we are live in the breakout room. As we wrap up, we want to let you know to continue being good to yourself and being good to others. Stay blessed, stay safe, and remember, work hard because you may never know when the last day is going to be for you on this planet. So, here are the three things that you need to work on: happiness, prosperity, and health. We love you. Godspeed. Until next time, this is Andy and Anne saying bye for now from Andy's Personal Development. Stay safe, people. God bless.